Let's just dive into that, right? And try to understand who is the next president of Poland, obviously, right?
And I think it's important to understand that if you want to go in the entrepreneurial journey is to really follow your mission and your values and to build on what you have, because trying to just like get the money and try to like think of something that, okay, let's do this because I know that this like is a good sector.
Yeah.
If you don't have this mission, this
Drive,
spark in you, this drive, exactly, at some point you'll burn out. And if you don't know why you're doing it, it won't work.
You find yourself also there, and you look at people around, you're like, this is like the X-Men of the
it really
the
is.
Avengers of the data and AI. Hello, Weronika.
Hi.
Very happy to welcome you today in the Red Rooster podcast, right? That is supported by Wybitny Studio. And today it's a really special podcast for me because we have worked together. I know a little bit of nepotism, but it's okay. That's fine. I think I'm saying that every podcast. Am I not? So that shows, how deep our network runs. But anyway, let me introduce you very briefly so everyone knows why they are tuning in. So Weronika nitecka, yes, 20 years old, 21 soon. And a CV that would say is as long as my arm already at your young age. You are currently a student at Sciences Po Paris, and you will tell us a little bit more about that, right? But at the same time, you do many other things like being a founder of a startup, a data-related startup, right? You have also contributed to the French Tech Warsaw, so that's how the nepotism works so deep, and currently have been receiving plenty of awards, right? So I'm so happy to have you here today and to basically tell your story. So thank you for
Thank you so much, Walid, for the invitation. Truly, I was really looking forward to this discussion. I'm super happy that even on a last minute note, we are able to do this. Yes, exactly.
Exactly.
So thanks a lot. I'm looking forward to the discussion.
So listen, not more than me for sure, because I have basically, let's give a little bit of background. Yeah. So we met about what, a year and a half ago, something like that?
Yeah, exactly. During the summer of 2024. So.
Exactly. So it has been some time. Yeah, quite. Yeah. So about, a year and a half ago, and you were brought to us, not by God, which could have been by Marta. Exactly. So it was Marta Subko, who is the founder and CEO of Subko & Co. Hey, Marta. And she basically, I remember basically the discussion. We're having a board meeting because she's also a French Tech Warsaw board member. One of the most precious. Everyone is precious, but she's very precious. And she came like, listen, I have the best person you could think of, to have in our team. And it's like, yeah, but, we don't have money. She doesn't need money. She just wants to join you guys, and be interning with us. And then, so the story is that you joined us during the summer for an internship, right? How long was it?
Yeah, exactly. It was 2.5 months. So it was kind of long, honestly. I feel like I did a lot. I did contribute. So I was super happy to join you.
Yeah.
And also the funny story is like how I met with Marta and how I joined you, because then we learned later on that Marta is actually the daughter of my Polish teachers from high school. So it was like this whole crazy story. And I feel like our story keeps on evolving and people we know, people we met. So that's also fascinating to me.
So cool. That's awesome. But, this is, I would say that, good souls attract good souls, right? So you have a tendency to,
great minds think alike.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Like, even there. Yeah, it's not me say that. So, and so building on that, since we met, right? And since we work together, we'll talk a little bit about your, French tech, let's say journey. A lot has happened. And you have been shining across countries, actually, because as we're saying, you're Polish, but you have, studied in Poland, in the French Lycée Français.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes? Mm-hmm. And now you are studying in France, and you have also studied in other places, but at the same time doing many, many other things. So let's just dive into that, right? And try to understand who is the next president of Poland, obviously, right? So,
You're too kind, Walid. Thank you so much for
be voting for you anyway.
For the kind words. It really means a lot. And your support and the French Tech support and everything you'll get to hear today, hopefully, really, truly means a lot. But for the short story, I'm from Poland, Warsaw, and I did the French high school in Warsaw, as you mentioned. And then since I knew French, it seemed natural to me to pursue my higher education in France. So that's what I did at the beginning with a dual degree in economics and philosophy at Paris Panthéon-Sorbonne.
So let's just a second, right? First of all, the first question I have is why lycée français? Did you have any, parents or origins that were linked to France that made you choose that?
So that's actually an interesting question that I get quite a lot
Yeah.
because as of now, I'm really proud that my French is good. So
It's outstanding. You speak French
So
like a French person.
that's a great personal achievement of mine. But I don't have any family in France. And actually, when I was 8, we moved abroad with my parents just for 2 years because my dad got a work contract. So we moved there and I started learning French on the go
Okay.
when I was, I think it was 8. So it was drastic at the beginning. I think everyone who tried to learn French knows this. But then when we came back to Warsaw 2 years later, my parents decided that, okay, maybe you could actually pursue the French education system since you already started. And then
That's
how it went. So the rest is history.
And then you are talking about the double diploma, right? That
Yes.
you made. And can you repeat again the major? Because just for me too.
So it's actually like there's no particular major, let's say, because it's two degrees at the same time. But like with
because one would be boring. So 2.
So it's a degree in economics and a degree in philosophy. So throughout high school, I was really interested in mathematics and also economics. And I always wanted to pursue a path that will allow me to contribute to the common good, but also use my skills to the best. So as I was pretty good in math and then I really liked econ, I decided that this would be the path. And actually, an interesting story is that I got rejected from my dream university.
Which was?
It was Dauphine.
Dauphine. You don't know what you missed, huh? But okay.
So, but actually, I think we'll discuss it also later. But it's also was something that allowed me to really push further my boundaries, and I didn't settle when I got rejected. I mean, of course, it was hard, but it pushed me to go further. So that's how I ended up doing the dual degree. And I knew I wanted to do econ, but I also wanted to develop a perspective on ethics because I think it's really important, especially in economics. We tend to have a very efficiency-based vision, and it tends to be very quantitative. So it's important to keep the bigger picture in mind.
Okay, amazing. So I guess you had it planned already. I'm not sure I was like that when I was 20 years old. And basically, what sparked your interest, for data science? Because that's what you pushed for afterwards, right? You basically stayed economics, but then moved a little bit more towards that. So what brought that to life, for you?
So I mentioned before, it's crazy for me because everything is related in what I do. So that's amazing. But basically, it was a moment in high school when I remember it so clearly, like during an economics lesson, I was asked to do a presentation, and the presentation was on a brief on Facebook sanctions. So it was regarding data regulation and like what happened with Cambridge Analytica. And I became so interested in that. We could even say maybe obsessed. And at that time, I didn't know that something like a degree in like data regulation, something like that could exist. So that's actually a thought that I had ever since high school.
Okay.
And then when I found out that I could do a degree in like public policy, specialize in digital and new technology, I knew that this would be my next step, and it will allow me to like keep on specializing and now hopefully working in economics of privacy or like data flows and data governance, which is truly like a stepping stone of all of the achievements and the academic background that I have from my dual degree.
Okay. And right now you are completing your master's.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Okay. Still in the same dual degree, or have you
No.
more?
So right now I'm at Sciences Po in Paris. So it's my second month there.
Okay. Because prior to that, you were abroad, right?
Yes, exactly. So everything was happening a little chaotically, but
Still happening.
Exactly. During my final year of the dual degree, I moved abroad for 1 semester to Padova in Italy, which was really great because it allowed me to see the economic perspective, but also the academic and the cultural one from a different point of view because life in Italy
is different.
It's different. It was kind of annoying to me because I like things to go fast.
Yeah, absolutely.
And everything goes super slow there.
Yeah.
So it was super interesting, and all of the courses that I got to take there were really special since I pursued graduate courses, but it was my final year of undergrad. So It was
We all
also.
did that. I did the same when I moved to Romania. I took grad, and I was an undergrad. So,
So it's really nice.
It's always more interesting, yeah?
Exactly. And then I came back to Paris. I finalized my dual degree and then moved to my master's.
Amazing. Yeah, and you're rocking all that, at the same time. And let's maybe get into a little bit a deep dive on your experience at the French Tech Warsaw. As we said, Marta brought you in, and we were all very happy to have you there. And as you said, you had an impact. And it was this just prior for you, then to you going to Italy, right?
Exactly.
So that was that summer, just before you moved to Italy and started, then after at Sciences Po after that semester. So what can you tell me about the experience in the French Tech Warsaw? Like, what did it bring to you, knowing that you were not tech related? You had interest in data science and economics and so on, but did it bring something to you different that you didn't have before and you could use right now or later on?
So there are many aspects. I think also what brought me to the French Tech in Warsaw was the fact that I was already working in the Franco-Polish relationships at the Association of Polish Students in France, ASPOL.
Mhm.
So that was a strong common point that we had together. And I think it's also what allowed us to keep on building on this mission together. And as for the skills and what I did, it was really a lot. I learned so much, truly. It was also my first internship, my first ever
Oh,
job.
really? I didn't know.
Oh, so now you know.
Now I know. Dude,
It was my
discovering
first
stuff.
ever
I
job.
didn't know that. Okay.
So I was super excited to learn. And I remember the first day when I arrived, Marta just had already. So Marta Subko was the person who mentored me
Yeah.
and whom I cherish
Yeah.
a lot. She's super special.
Yeah.
And I'm super happy to still be in contact with her.
Yeah.
But she came up to me with this huge list of things that need to be done
Yeah.
in 2 months and a half. And
Yeah.
she said, Weronika, so this is your first day. Here's the list of what you can do. So build us this,
Yeah.
XYZ.
Yeah.
Are you ready? And I was like, is
I
this
think-
for this week?
That's it.
So,
Today.
No, so that was actually a lot. But I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but it was also the building blocks
Oh, yeah.
of La French Tech Warsaw.
Absolutely.
So what I did actually allowed me to see from the inside how it looks like to build an organization. So from both perspectives, also a tech-related one that I'll dive into later, but also an organizational one. It really allowed me to understand how things are built, how also the people are important in the teams and the different skills that you can combine. So for instance, from designing the playbook and like the general structure to preparing your meetings to then preparing some sponsorship offers. And honestly, I was like a do-it-all girl, which I love to do.
Yeah.
So I did a little bit of everything. But I think what was also special is that like on a personal note, you were very attentive to what I wanted to gain from this experience and also to my interests. So I also worked with data and like building a whole database of contacts and working also on events with you, because that's also something that I had prior experience with. So I think that was really special. And I still use the skills that I gained today. For building organizations, that's also things that I use at Gordatum. But also then after my internship at La French Tech, I was the president of the Association of the Polish Students in France. So designing the playbook, knowing how to manage a whole organization, seeing how you guys manage it, it was like, wow. Because what's also interesting is that, I don't know if this is public, but you're doing this in your free time. This is not your
free time or not, actually.
Yeah, but it's not like your full-time job, and you're still doing great things, which I think is super impressive, because people can have a full-time job and not do the same. You have like 5 different jobs, and La French Tech Warsaw is doing amazing. So that's also something that truly impressed me, and that's also like what shows me that you don't need a lot to really make a huge impact. You need the right people, the right skills, and you can do a lot.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right, and I can tell you that you were an igniter for everything we did afterwards. But truly, right? Because as French Tech Warsaw was created about 3 years ago. The first year for us, and it was mostly a big discovery, right? How we do things, how do you build a community, how do you engage people, and mostly. We have a board which is made only of CEOs and people that actually have a lot of things to do. Obviously, have a certain ego towards how things should be done, and so it was really a lot about testing ourselves and seeing how far we could go, and how we manage that. But none of us had really the capacity to sit and be fully operational. So things were done. Pieces by pieces, right? And then when you arrived and Marta was like, I got the girl, I'm gonna, make it happen. And she gave you that list, and you basically ran through that list, right? Then, and you were so annoying to everyone. Hey, why do I not get this? Hey guys, what are you doing? You know, it was like crazy. We're like, what the hell is happening? And things starting to, happen, right? Bam, 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 one after the other. And really that gave us, first of all, the confidence that, as you said, with very little, we could do a lot, right? With just motivation, a bit of research, some skills, obviously, and willingness. But also it paved the way for our model of integration with, people coming to us. We have one here that is taking picture. Hey, Elias. Elias was basically managed to come because I was confident enough that we can handle someone to come in and that we needed someone that was operational. And then we got Manu and so on. So you were really the base of that. And there is a lot of blocks you created. I think all of them that we still use and that we have improved, obviously, and developed and so on. So yeah, your moment with us in French Tech Warsaw, I'm happy to hear it was meaningful to you, but it was very meaningful to us because it really put us on a launch pad, operationally speaking, to move things along. So
super happy to hear that.
Yes, I can tell you. And your name is still popping, popping up, from time to time in the discussion. It's like, she would have done it better.
So, maybe one day we'll get to work together again.
I'm
pretty
waiting
sure
for that day, and I know we will for sure. And then did that because, as you said, and this is what I love about, go-getters and doers, as you are. I hope I am on some extent, right? Is that people always think that because you do a lot, then you're not good enough. You're not good enough in each thing, right? And I think you are the example of that. And there is most of the people I know around us that are, pretty important people or CEOs and something do many things at the same time. They're good at that because they know how to compartmentalize, and as you were saying, you are now, finishing, in your degree in Sciences Po, right? You are president of ASPOL, which is the Association for Polish Student. No, go for it. Yeah, tell me. Association.
I'm the former president now.
You are the former president. Okay.
My mandate ended like in August.
Okay.
So like if you want to say something, it could be like that I'm an honorary member now.
You're an honorary member of it. Yeah, but you have been president of it, right?
Yeah,
still linked to that and still, influential there, let's say. And then you joined also one of the most recognized right now scale-up in the world, Pathway, right?
Yeah.
Founded by Susanna Stamirowska, who is also, a pretty big figure,
She is. She is,
in the AI and data and, tech sector. So can you tell us a little bit more about that? How did you end up there? And what was your journey there and what attracted you?
For sure. So again, like, I don't think I can stress this enough, but the people you spend your time with and like who you work with is truly one of the most important things that you can do.
Yeah.
Like what I did with you guys, what I did at like beyond my academic time is what allowed me to come here, I believe. So for instance, with Pathway, it's actually a crazy story because I saw Susanna at Viva Technology in Paris back in 2023. And I had this thought, oh my God, this woman.
She's special, yeah?
She's special. She's amazing. Like if you guys ever hear Susanna pitch or like present something or even just see her, there's something about her that I was just like, wow, I would really love to work with her once. Yeah. And fast forward 2024 in November, I organized an event from the Association of Polish Students in France, and it was called AI Night. We did it in partnership with AI Consensus. Actually, Walid also helped me there a little because as La French Tech, as different entities that work on a non-profit basis, we all need the network support. So thank you, Walid, for that. And the event turned out amazing. And actually, Susanna was our keynote speaker.
Yeah.
I was super
it's
thrilled.
Crazy that you managed to get her as a keynote speaker.
It was amazing, really. I was super thrilled that she was able to come. Since it wasn't a huge event, I mean, it was still important to us because we still have representatives from France Digital, from the OECD, from different sectors. So it was super special that she was able to come. And the event turned out amazing, really. And then different stories happened in the background. But fast forward a week from the event, I got a message from Susanna asking if I would like to join Pathway. And if I would be open to working with them, which was like my dream come true, honestly.
Yeah, of course.
So I was super happy. And then in April 2025, I joined Pathway and I am still with them.
Yeah.
on a permanent basis now.
Okay.
I think starting from
While-
January,
Why? Oh, so from January it's permanent,
but
yeah?
part-time.
Okay, yeah,
So,
obviously.
like,
I mean, you still, you still need to
have my
sleep,
studies.
you still need to study, you need to watch
I
the
have
se-
Guardatum, so there are
We're
different
getting
things.
to that Guardatum, yeah.
But everything is going really, really nice.
Yeah.
Pathway on the 1st of October announced the BDH, so Dragon Hatchling, the new architecture
Yeah.
that allows to train models and that is inspired by the brain.
Yeah.
So the neuron network in our brain,
Mhm.
which is really a breakthrough
Yeah.
from the post-transformer models that we had, because it allows efficiency gains on an energy level,
Mhm.
but also like from the computation point of view. So it's really groundbreaking, and being able to be part of such an amazing team.
That's- yeah.
Like people, for example, Jan Chorowski, who is our CTO, who has co-authored with Jeffrey Hinton, who is the godfather of AI.
Okay.
And then Adrian Kosowski, who is the chief scientific officer, who is like, I think, one of the brightest minds in the 21st century.
Yeah.
So moments are like this are just like,
You're sitting in a meeting and you're
Filled-
like, what the hell am I doing?
exactly. And I'm just forever filled with gratitude for all of the
Yeah.
opportunities
Yeah.
that come along. So
Yeah.
super happy about that. And I think Pathway is only started.
Oh, yeah.
And
I mean, as soon
A
as
lot
they
to
make
come.
an IPO, I will be the first one putting the money. I can tell you that. So no, absolutely. And as you say, it's also, I think the skill here of this company. I mean, what the company has done is not only about the technical aspect, but the capacity to attract talents, but to attract talents that were not just there for the big check or for the trend, but actually they are there to try to make a difference, right? And this, shows because you find yourself also there, and you look at people around, you're like, this is like the X-Men of the
It is. It really
the
is.
Avengers of the data and AI, and
It is.
all put together and all very kind. And just on a side note, Susanna Stamirovska was for us as a French Tech Warsaw in our French Tech Connect that took place in May, where that's our recurring yearly big event. And this year we had the French Tech Warsaw Awards, right? And she was voted as the best Polish entrepreneur in France, right?
Yeah, that's amazing. I know I tried to follow it a little on the live because I still had my exam, but I was following on the live.
Yeah.
I think it was Ilyes who was filming. So.
No, it was. Oh, I'm sorry, but it was a shit show.
But I was still able to follow. So
She couldn't say much. I mean, because she was in the US, right?
yeah.
And
she's they're based in Silicon Valley
exactly,
now. So.
right, in Palo Alto or something
Yeah,
like this. Yeah. And so she's based there, and we were having the award in the evening, and so of course she couldn't make it physically, but one guy came to pick up the award, but she still said, listen, I will come online, to say a few words. Obviously, we did not manage to put the mic, so we could see her face speaking, but she couldn't. But anyway, all that to say that, she was very kind. I'm sure that she gets solicited all the time and she gets messages all the time. But, when I contacted her, she was absolutely open and super kind and, didn't feel,
That's Susanna.
Yeah, so I was like, wow, that's super impressive for someone that is at that level. So, so all that to say that I'm not very surprised that there is an absolute match over there. And let's say moving on your data career related, right? You are also, or you have recently, like a few months ago, or this year, 6 months ago, can you tell me about your project that you have launched, your startup? Right?
Yes.
The name, what it is, how, why, please tell us a bit more,
For
because
sure.
it feels that it's very much an evolution
Yeah.
of everything you have done in the past year and a half. Like you are following the path.
It is. That's also what I love. I think at some point when you get to a situation that really allows you to understand that you're on your path and that you're doing what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
And that it follows like the background that you have, like what you aim for in life, your mission.
Yeah.
You're just unstoppable.
Yeah, exactly.
At some point.
It's just,
without trying to sound like, without
Yeah,
bragging,
yeah.
it's really
No, absolutely.
like
We are here for that.
doors
It's a podcast about you. You can brag,
doors like open, and there are so many opportunities in front of you. So that's also something that happened with Guardatum,
Yeah.
I feel like. So we started in May. It was really, everything was happening really fast.
Yeah, May this year, right?
Yeah,
May
exactly.
okay, yeah.
May 2025.
Yeah.
So it all started with the Girls Future Ready Foundation, which is led by Zofia Kierner.
Yes.
Also an
Also,
amazing lady.
I would love to have her in the podcast. I would love
would
that.
be amazing. So the Girls Future Ready Foundation actually has mentoring programs every month. one of the mentors in, I think it was April, was Estera Kot,
Mhm.
who is the CTO at Clouds on Mars and also the ex-principal product manager at Microsoft at the headquarters in Washington. So really a super technical but super special
Yeah.
person. So I remember when I saw Estera and the tagline that she wants to build ethical AI,
Yeah.
I was like, wow, this is for me. Like my background in ethics, the need and also my mission to do something in data privacy and to link it to AI, I instantly thought that I have to go for it. So fast forward the recruitment, because it's, let's say, recruitment mentoring program. So there are multiple rounds. I was partnered with Estera, and that's how Gardatum
So
began.
you said, I want that lady, and you got that lady. This is just insane.
I mean, I had to prepare the whole application
Obviously,
process
but
and go for interviews.
You're still okay.
But when I first discussed with Estera, she said that her mission and what I wanted to do really spoke to her, and that she feels that our values are also aligned and that she wants to keep on building on this mission.
Yeah.
So that's how we get started together. So the initial thought was to build an AI agent in 3 months.
But is that program, when you say it's a mentoring program, is it mentoring for you to accomplish a special project, or is just to link young people with someone that has accomplished a lot and say, listen, you can do it too? What is the purpose of it? Yeah,
exactly. So what's special about the Girls Future Aid Foundation is that their mentoring programs are project based. So actually you have 3 months to prepare a project, which is super special. Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
So what's nice is that like most of the time mentoring programs are really nice, but it's hard to follow up for, let's say the mentor doesn't have a lot of time. And at the end, you have the valuable insights from them, but there's not like a tangible thing that you have. And at the foundation, Zofia and the whole team behind really made sure that, you know, every girl can really work on something on their own. So that's the story. And with Estera, our aim was to build, it was either an AI agent or a chatbot. And my initial thought was to help people understand what happens to their data when they surf online, which is something that we'll discuss also further on. But I think it's a super important topic. And it's also related, as I said before, to Cambridge Analytica and to my interest back in high school, to my studies, to everything. So it was kind of this cumulative point to just build something on top of it. So when we first spoke about it with Estera, the initial thought was like, let's build a plugin so that it doesn't change the workflow of the user, but still allows them to understand what's happening. So that's how we started building. Fast forward, not even 2 weeks, we pitched our POC at the Women in Tech Summit in Warsaw in front of, I think, 500 people.
Wow.
Which was crazy. And
you pitched?
Yeah, I pitched. But we were there with Estera. Since Estera is super technical, she presented the whole technical side. How will we build? And we presented the POC. The feedback was great. And I think also an important thing to stress here is, as we already said before, the skills and the people are important. But we did this without any funding, without anything truly.
Just
not to promote any companies, but we used like an available LLM,
Which
like
one?
chat.
Go!
We use like, you can do custom GPTs.
Yeah.
So we just created a custom GPT to see how the POC would work and like what would it enable. So you're able to customize like fully the knowledge, the behavior, everything. So that's what we did and that's what we presented to the audience. And I think the best point was that at the last slide of my presentation, I had a QR code and I encouraged people to scan it if they're interested. And then I saw everyone pick up their phone and scan. So I was like, okay, that's is working. Something
feedback,
is happening.
That's super direct feedback. Yeah?
Exactly. So that was really, I think that was the first milestone that we had with Estera. The presentation of our POC, and that really allowed us to somewhere validate that this is an idea worth pursuing. And I think that also, Estera had confidence in me even at the beginning, I hope. Yeah. But that's what allowed her to say, okay, I think that this girl is into something. Yeah. Let's keep pushing and let's keep building. Yeah. So without going into the details of the whole story, we worked together throughout the whole summer and then hosted a hackathon in September this year to share what I have gained with other girls who also can develop ethical solutions.
So you did a hackathon past September, right?
This September, yeah. So September 2025, we launched Gardatum and Clouds on Mars hackathon in their headquarters here in Warsaw. And we hosted 15 girls to show them how they can use low-code or no-code skills to build ethical solutions. So what was really important for us was the data. Some people say that I'm crazy about data, but I think it's super important.
It's our nowadays,
it's the new currency.
Yeah, it's this gold, right? So
exactly.
you have to care about it.
So for us, what was also important is to think about ethical frameworks from the beginning. So sometimes when you speak about ethical AI, we think about governance, like how we can govern AI. But at the beginning, it starts at the foundational blocks. So how you design your model, like which data it collects. Like, does your model collect the user data, and like for which purpose? Are you only collecting data because everyone is collecting data and like you don't really need that? So we also wanted to raise awareness on this point to the girls. And they really had great solutions, like solutions on mental health, preparing for public speeches, security, everything. So that was really amazing. And they did that in 45 minutes. So once again, to prove the point that you don't need a lot. You need skills and the right tools and the right people.
Absolutely. And I think this is where entrepreneurship shines, right? We have been for very long in Europe trying to replicate the American model where money is thrown at you, right, to validate something. And I have to say that Europe doesn't work like that, right? And we have been, leading the new generation of entrepreneurs thinking that you need to fundraise before to validate. But the reality, and you prove it here again, and I can tell you something about it, that you can do a lot with very small amount of resources, right? And I think this is what makes you an entrepreneur. And this is what makes your project basically survive the storms of the entrepreneurial journey. Right?
Exactly. I would say that you have to have your head on your shoulder at the time and be in a little like do it all, Bob the Builder mindset, and just be able to take the tools and prepare everything as you go and design new ideas.
Absolutely. So. Yeah, you are, the speaker and the developer and the secretary and you kind of pick up the phone. Yes, hello, I'm passing you the, So yeah, it's absolutely that, but it's something that is not said enough, right? And again, there is this thing like, oh, you need to focus on one thing and then, you're going to get very good and then you get funding. And I was like, that's not the reality, right? To be able even more what my experience in the entrepreneurial world has shown me is that if you do not go through this process, right, of doing every single job, of struggling or going through it, then your recruitment is not as efficient later on, right? Because you can get scammed kind of by people that can interview very well but actually are not able to deliver, right? And your capacity to basically understand deeply what you are doing changes the whole aspect of the people you get around you. And I think we can get back to Zuzanna Stamirovska. She's the one that is at the base of everything being created, right?
Exactly.
And so then the people that are around her, she's able, I believe, maybe to see through the bullshit, right?
That's true. That's true. And it's also, I think, really important and interesting that even in Zuzanna's case, like she was working in maritime trades and like understanding how all the networks evolve in her PhD thesis. And that's also how the idea for Pathway initially came.
Yeah.
So it all started with her background and her skills and the people that she was surrounded with. And that's also what encouraged her to keep on building on this mission. I know that also for Zuzanna, the people around her are super important, whether that's in her personal life or the people she has and her network. Yeah. And I think it's important to understand that if you want to go in the entrepreneurial journey is to really follow your mission and your values. Yeah. And to build on what you have, because trying to just like get the money and try to like think of something that, okay, let's do this because I know that this like is a good sector. Yeah. If you don't have this mission, this drive, spark in you, this drive, exactly, at some point you'll burn out. Exactly. And if you don't know why you're doing it, it won't work.
This is why, as I was saying, this is why we see so many startups basically collapse, after 1 year. 90% of them collapse after 2 years because often, just like you said, right, we try to get the funding to build something, right? So we're not able to validate it before, spending the money. And then the heart is potentially not in it, is because we are following an AI trend or a VR trend or whatever, trend, that is ongoing, and have seen them all in the past, decade. Often this is, your heart is not in it. The passion is not in it.
That's also like now when I joined my master degree at Sciences Po, there's also the Center for Entrepreneurship at Sciences Po. And actually I got admitted to the starter program at the Center for Entrepreneurship with Gardatum. So one of the main things that also made me think is like, sometimes you're not really sure about the solution that you're building, but what every entrepreneur that we spoke to reminds us of is like you have to be in love in the problem that you're solving. Yeah. And if you have this vision, if you are really obsessed by the problem that you're working on, even if you iterate, even if you change, you will still work on it. And like people would look at you and they would say, okay, it makes sense. Like he was always like working on this one problem, even if the solution is not the same. he is still working on it. Like, it makes sense. He's not pivoting between different industries, trying to do,
yeah.
who knows?
Just to try to hit something,
Exactly.
right? To kind of stick to it, and and always time. If you stick to something long enough, usually you are right. It's a matter of time, because people have a tendency, and even more in the entrepreneurial journey, to not have a lot of stamina. And being an entrepreneur is being like a marathon runner, but not even marathon, like an ultra marathon trail,
like
whatever, more than the super Iron Man, you have to keep going no matter what. And I think this is what makes the difference between someone that remains an entrepreneur their whole life. I mean, I think you are an entrepreneur once, you're an entrepreneur forever. Right?
It's a mindset.
It's a mindset, right? It's the way that you wake up in the morning, and it's the way that you go. And someone that just tries to be an entrepreneur do not remain an entrepreneur, because it's just a try. You have to, I believe, live it. I mean, that's my personal experience. Hopefully, you will join me there in a couple of years when you will, accumulate those years. And can you tell me now, basically, what is the next thing for Gorzatom?
So our mission is to empower individuals to reclaim their digital autonomy by making data rights transparent and actionable. And how we do it is we're designing a plugin that allows you to understand what you're really agreeing to when you click I accept. Because the main issue that we're working on is, in 2023, the Eurostat did a survey where they found that 36% of users in the European Union actually read the privacy policy, which is not surprising, because we live in times where we want to get the information as fast as we can. We don't have the time to think about the privacy policy that stands like between us and the information. And we're also, I think, really used to the commodity of the websites, and we are in this mindset that we think that everything is designed for us. But in reality, that's not the case. So that's the mission, and that's the problem that we're solving. And as of now, we're working. We already launched our POC, and we're now working on our MVP to really launch like a usable product, let's say.
Like the beta that can be open to the people,
Exactly. So the nearest milestone for us is this, and we're now applying to grants to help us develop it also from the technical side and like financially also, because, skills are one thing, but when you want to push the step further, at some point you need the cash. Exactly. Especially when you're talking about tech, at some point there's the infrastructure that needs to be paid. And that's not for free.
Absolutely. But I think you can join some. I mean, we have benefited from that, but you have OVH. Let's talk about the French one. There is the other American one also, but they have also some programs there that you can get to. But OVH, I know that have programs that enable you to get some credits for your infrastructure. And I think this is really great, like such a great approach that you are having, because you're saying like, you did not say, I'm going to fundraise. You say, we are looking for grants, right? Because first of all, what it shows that, grants are there for that. They are there for trying things for someone. Then if you lose that money, it's not really impactful to the state or whatever, organization that provided, in comparison to fundraising, where you have to deal with people and VCs and reports. And, this is real money of real people, where a grant is real money, but that is made for that,
Exactly.
And that shows that, you're getting there. I really, really love that. And so when do you think that's MVP, if I may ask, would be available for test? Because, I'm happy to,
Our goal is to do it as soon as we can. But honestly, Esther also has a full-time job. So there are some limitations. But hopefully by April, I think, we'll be able to deliver a beta product.
So cool.
And by that time, we're also investigating deep into the market and like what's currently happening to better understand. And I think the biggest issue is that it's still an evolving problem, and people are not really aware of it. So some might say that if that's the case, that's not a problem, but I don't agree with that on this problem. Because I think that given the developments of AI and how we're all using AI, one of the things that also Susanna says a lot is that there's no more data. What do we do when there's no more data and we need to train models? Well, some people believe that there's a trade-off to be made between privacy and AI, which I think is super dangerous and is not spoken about too much. And that's concerning for me, because Honestly, if we think of a scenario where everyone is giving away their personal data, meaning your name, your address, your email address, your phone number, which is like, okay, maybe some scammers will call you. But then you can also link it to your activity online. To, let's say, what are your browsing habits? What did you buy? Where were you this last week, this last month? Are there any patterns in your behavior? And at some point, companies and systems know more about you than you do yourself, which is super scary.
Yeah.
And again, if we are in a mindset where we believe that systems were built for us and that the apps maybe that we're using, the platforms are there to serve us, we could be happy and think, okay, I will get the perfect personalized ad. Sorry, but that's not the case. And given also, let's not get political here, but giving
Why not?
different like rises of the far right and what's happening in different governments, we see that the freedom of speech is sometimes being menaced, which I think that if you link those points, you can see that it's easy to spot, for instance, like from a surveillance point of view, whose
exactly, going,
exactly. So when we say the problem that we empower users to regain the digital autonomy, there's so much aspects that go into that. And I think that's really an issue that will evolve like in the next couple of months or a year when we see that companies will want to use personal data to train models. And even now when we want to use, let's say, AI agent that can browse for us, like what is the privacy trade-off that we're paying to do so?
So let me ask you this, because, I always remind, I often do it with, let's say, older generations, right? Where, we have, you said it perfectly, that we think that, things are done for us, they are made for us specifically, right? And that, the company has taken everything into consideration, right? I have a couple of companies, and I can tell you that not everything is taken into consideration. And I have seen other companies, bigger and smaller, being built around it in the tech world mainly, where there is also funding and investors and all these issues, right? Where things are built for the profits. Things are built for the next financial review, right? And often, people think that, exactly like Facebook, it's going to be perfectly ethical, and, WhatsApp will be, and Instagram will be, and, TikTok and so on, because they have to, because they are a big company. But we all know that this is not the reality, right? When you look, behind the curtain, right? Everyone is just trying to get their company to the next stage of growth, which means more money, better valuation, and so on. Do you think, with your experience in Pathway, what you do right now, Gordatom, and everything you are exposed to in the AI and data world, that someone is driving that, or is actually just chaos and everyone is just trying to, there isn't a big plan of, we will take your data, or it's just, a random chaos, and maybe it will land somewhere. How do you feel about that?
Honestly, this is just my opinion, but I feel like even what we see with big tech nowadays, that in reality, most of the companies, like when you dig into it, a company is owned by another. And there are, maybe not the world is ruled by some companies, but there are bigger companies who have a lot of impact in the world we live in.
Yeah.
And I do not believe that it's possible that people will collect your data just for that, because as you know, like data centers require a lot of money, a lot of energy. Data needs to be stored somewhere. So I think the important thing to ask yourself is like, who benefits from what you're giving, what you're doing, and why would they do it? And I don't think that there's like a right or wrong question, but it just depends like, what are you okay with?
Yeah.
So I don't think it's my place here to answer it, but I think it's an important question that we should ask ourselves, like in our daily digital routine. Like, what are we really doing?
Okay, I like that. Okay, and do you think that, I'm gonna stick to this for now, to this topic, because I really like it. Do you think we do enough, as a society, or as, tech companies, or even as governments, right, at some extent, to show that, that, it's up to you to decide what you are okay with, right? And basically give them the full understanding of what can be, how harmful it can be or not?
Unfortunately, no. That's also a little bit of, let's say, thought that I was having while creating Gardatum, because what's interesting actually is that we have the GDPR that's protecting our data rights, that's allowing you to opt out at any time. But in reality, every time you click I accept, you accept a contract. Like you don't see it as one because you're not actually like signing with wet ink and a pen. But in reality, you're accepting something. You're accepting to give away your data for them to sell your data, etc. And that's also why at some point we thought that Gardatum should be designed as a foundation to help people really execute the rights that they have from the GDPR. That's also something that we're still thinking about because I think that's important. But we also did a survey to understand a little bit better data practices of users. So actually what we found out is, I think the first question was, do you ever read privacy policies, etc.? And then it was about cookies. And the last question was, do you know the difference between a data, like a privacy policy and then like a cookie policy? And people were like, well, isn't it the same? And then we were like, okay, so I think there's a little issue. So regarding your question, I think that there's not a lot, but I think it's because it's not considered as a big problem nowadays, which I believe like everyone has their own mission, their own problem to solve. So maybe this is the one that I will work on throughout several years ahead, I hope. And I hope that I will be able to bring more awareness to this. Because as I mentioned, like from a political point of view, and ethical, there are really big risks related to this, and people are not aware yet. So our goal is to really get to the most European citizens who are active internet users as we can, even if they maybe will not use our plugin, but to be aware of what's happening. So that's also why we're collaborating actually with entities in Brussels. So I'm working with SME Connect, which is a group that helps SMEs grow and also so SME Connect is an entity that promotes SMEs in Brussels and help them also reach them goals and understand how the different regulations that come into effect will affect their businesses. Yeah, exactly. So that's also, we're working with them to also better understand their perspective and to help also create a trust relation between users and companies. Because even if some things maybe are not done perfectly, I believe that there are better ways to do it, and that we can still like build trust between users and companies.
I see it firsthand throughout. My company is also a tech company, and I can see that the last 2 decades of let's say the wild west of tech, that has been going on, and big tech that has been good sometimes but harmful often, has created a kind of a distance between the users and the tech companies. And I can see it, even for us, where we are operating in the sports tech business, we're supposed to be a feel good type of company. We find ourselves also with that, first response of the user is that we are trying to do something bad, and I think there is, rebuilding the trust between the companies and the clients and the users and so on. I think that's a massive mission, because it has been really, I think, kicked in the nuts, for quite some time. And it's...
No, I agree. It's difficult. And I think this is somewhere of an end goal that we have. But the main mission that we're focusing on are the end users and what's happening with their data.
Absolutely. And to spread that awareness, do you do it? Because you don't do enough things, like your days are pretty chill. So just, a little segue, question here. Do you do it through the MIT Science Policy Review? Is this something that, helps you carry that message out? Or can you tell us what you do there also?
Yeah, sure. So this is, let's say, separate, because I would say that data privacy, data governance is a particular interest of mine that I'm developing through my studies. But I'm also looking at the bigger picture. So what's happening, for instance, with tech policy and science policy. So working with the journal at MIT, so the MIT Science Policy Review, allows me to have a better understanding of where we're at currently in science policy fields, which also involves AI, but also healthcare, climate change, science enterprise, and that's it, I believe.
You are you are a contributor?
No,
Or
I'm not an author. I'm in the executive board. I'm the communications director.
Okay.
So my work there involves spreading the word on science policy.
Okay.
So we're based mostly in the US, and the mission is to help reach the research that our authors, interviewers are doing to policymakers.
Okay.
Because most of the time, even in tech, I think we see it. People are in politics, people are doing policies, but in reality, they have little
No
understanding
clue.
of
Yeah.
what they are doing.
Little understanding, you're very nice, yeah, because I would say no clue most of the time.
So I think it's super important, and that's why I'm trying to think of, creative ways to bring science to people to
Make it funny.
Yeah, but then that's also the trade-off of like keeping the scientific rigor and then
absolutely.
being
Yeah. You have to
being fun.
but that's the thing is like I think there is a lot, if we can also, bring science to, other areas, that science would be needed, to be understood, right? But sometimes this kind of rules and the strict rules of science, do not allow you to dumb it down and then bring more people in. So I think sometimes it's good to just leave the brain aside or dumb it down. Maybe more people will adhere then to, what
That's
you
true.
are
Maybe
trying
I'll
to.
bring it on during my next board meeting.
Walid said, dumb it down.
They'll be super happy, I know.
That would be perfect. Okay. But that, as you said, and I think this is why it is the most impressive about you is that everything is very linked, right? So whatever you do right now with the MIT science policy review pathway, what you did with ASPOL, what you do, in your studies with Gordatom, right? Everything is kind of, there is a trail.
Yeah,
right?
and that's also, I think, what allows me to keep building because as we spoke before, like at some point, if it's not all aligned and not all linked, you get lost in it. Like it's all chaos.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just not possible.
Yeah.
But
And then and even other people don't see you as an efficient person because they feel that, you are, in opposite topics, right? Even though you feel that you might be efficient, but you are not perceived as such. And I think in the entrepreneurial journey, one thing that is very important is, as you said, first, the dedication, your willingness to, suffer to get there and so on. But I think the external perception is extremely important also, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Because otherwise you don't get funded. Otherwise you don't get supported. Otherwise no one wants to work with you, and no one wants to work with someone that is not predictable or stable enough at least, yeah?
Exactly. So that's why we're also super happy because for now, the work that we're doing at Gordatom has been supported by the Ghost Security Foundation, but also by Clouds on Mars. So the startup where Esther is working from Emeritical, but also, let's say, a first like technical point of view.
Okay, great. And to basically close the Gordatom chapter here, where do you see it in 3 years, right?
My very bold mission would be...
Just call it a mission. Knowing you, it's not bold anymore. So just call it what I will do.
As I mentioned before, we are also collaborating with Brussels. So the goal would be also to be in discussion with current policies that are being made to build regulation that are more aligned with users and are really protect users. So somewhere in 3 years, we would like to be in Brussels and to speak about data rights and what's currently happening at the Commission, at the Parliament. So we hope to get there. And then a real bold move would to be if like 1 out of 3 internet users in the EU would use our data.
Amazing. Yeah, I just, I wish you that. I wish you even more. So, all right. I think that's not, knowing you, that's not so bold, right? So, and let's even, further show how, special this last year and a half, because I truly speaking, right? I have the chance through this, French Tech entrepreneurial journey, everything I do, travels and so on, to meet many people, right? But I rarely had the chance, to meet someone that was in such a tear, right? Like you, in such a short amount of time, but still, here, smiley and, open and so on. So I think it's very important for everyone to understand that this last year and a half was just...
It was crazy.
I mean, like here we're talking about it casually, but I have my notes here, yeah? And I'm just going through the different stuff. And I think your last year and a half, when you look back, I mean, you're going to be 21 right now, barely.
Yeah,
yeah?
I mean, I turned 21 in...
Sorry, yeah.
January.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'll be 22
22.
in
Yeah,
like couple of months.
couple of months, right? So 21. When you look, and it's hard to reflect when you're 21, 22, obviously, right? But still, if you take that step and say, what happened in the last year and a half? You know, how do you personally feel about that? You know, is it pride? Is it fear? Is it, you know, what is the main emotions that go through you in those?
Really excitement. Like
Yeah.
I'm just super excited for what's ahead and like what's happening, because this past 1 year and a half was so crazy. Like nearly every week or like a max every month, I would wake up and like a big news would pop up, and I would be like, oh my god, wow, what is happening?
Yeah.
So the more I move on, the closer like all of these little milestones get together.
Yeah.
But I think the most important thing for me was to just understand that it doesn't have to be perfect. And like a big issue that I had and that I'm still working on is like I'm a huge perfectionist. I like
Which is bad. In entrepreneurship, it's very bad.
I know.
You need to let go of shit product sometimes, not just to try.
Exactly. So I think also like trying to disconnect from this perfect picture that I had in my mind of like, you know, having perfect grade, then doing this perfectly, then doing this perfectly. It's just not possible.
Yeah.
Like you can do a lot of things at once, but you can't be 100% everywhere. It's just not possible. If you want to do amazing in every field, you need the people who will support you, who will work with you, but you can't be alone in every sector and do 100%.
Yeah.
So I think the main thing was for me to just let go of this perfect image, and even like doing it scared, honestly, sometimes. Because even if maybe I can seem super open here, I'm also super stressed sometimes. Like when I go in on a stage and have to speak to thousands of people, I get stressed.
Yeah, I mean.
So I think also it's important to know that everyone is like this.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just like you don't see it
No.
on some people, but like when you let go of the idea that like what other people think of you, and you just try to think like, what is your dream? What are you trying to achieve? Like, what do you want to do?
Yeah.
You just really enable all of the doors for yourself, and you realize that there are huge opportunities that were waiting for you, but you just locked yourself out of them. So I think that was also the case for me, to just like trying to keep pushing the boundaries.
But when was that? When you were 14? That's what you're talking about.
Well, Walid.
I had to say that, you know, I had to let go. I was like, wow, just carry it for the past 10 years.
Maybe not 14, okay.
I'm joking, obviously. No, that's very serious. And I absolutely admire what you're saying, because I think, you know, when we look at you and me, when I look at you from the outside, you know, even though, you know, we know each other and we have spent some time together, either in Poland or even in France also, you know, you feel, as you said, you know, like, oh, trying to be perfect, right? Try to do always the right thing, trying to, you know, be always on point, right? But I know that, you know, some things are brewing in the mind, right? Always. And there is, you know, uncertainties, and there is, you know, and I'm talking here for me, you know, sometimes lack of confidence, right? And then people, you know, see you, and as you said, see you on stage and doing podcasts, you know, it's like, wow, this is easy. No, it's not easy, because you're always fighting that internal fight where you are often not enough, or you're, how I'm gonna make it happen, how, you know. So,
but I think it's also important, like on one hand you have this, but on the other hand it's also like being prepared. Like I still have this little, you know, like perfectionist thing in the background. So for instance, like here we know each other very well, so the discussion is super nice. But for sometimes, like for instance, when I have interviews with really like serious people, I can go crazy. No, you are very serious. Sorry.
I love that.
Here is Walid very serious.
We don't cut that. We keep that in, please.
With like, you know, no, but like, you know, when you're doing a job interview or something like this, it's like, I will do 100 takes of the interview pitch that I want to present. And then like, you know, I can go in confident because I know what I'm about to say.
You put the work.
Exactly. So it's the hard work, but also being able to accept that not everything will be perfect. But you can't do like, you know, letting go and seeing what will happen and not putting the work behind. So that's also important to know, like, even what's been happening this past 1 year and a half, it's the result of my hard work. It's not like an overnight success.
Absolutely, absolutely. And two important things is that when you put the work, it goes well, it goes bad. You know, you cannot really blame yourself, because you're like, I could not have put more work into that.
Exactly.
Then, you know, like I gave it everything. That's the first thing. And then what you're saying prior to that is that also the fact that you get access to these levels, right? Then you realize that you actually belong there, right? I think this is one of the, one of the biggest trigger is that when you see it from the outside, you're like, how to get there? How can I belong into that group of people that do this and that? And finally, when you get there, actually not everyone is smart there.
I mean, for now, I didn't have this feeling. I feel like being a pathway, I don't have this feeling.
Pathway, it's a different aspect.
Working with Veteran either.
But really, there is this thing of, people often don't try to search for, this bigger, goal or achievement because they feel that once they will get there, they will not have the code and they will not have the sense of belonging, right? But people that are there, at that level, often you sit there and you're like, yeah, it's not so impressive, right? But you need to get there to feel it. And then it takes away all that pressure, right? And then it becomes so much easier to roll, what you need to do.
But on the other hand, I think like also this past couple of months, I've been put in such rooms that I still have this feeling that, it's all happening super fast.
Yeah.
So like, for instance, I think I told you that before, but I had a super special gala yesterday.
Yeah.
Where really...
We're going to talk about it in a second.
I was in the same lineup as people I would have never like dreamed of being even like my name, having quoted next to them.
Yeah.
For instance, the informatics and mathematics professor from Gdynia who taught the researchers at OpenAI.
Yeah. Oh.
So I was like, okay. And then the Frederick Chopin Institute.
Yeah. Okay.
So it was like a lineup, Weronika, then Professor Richard, and then Chopin. So I feel like on one hand we have this, but on the other hand, like if you keep pushing even further, like at some point you still have this feeling that what am I doing here? But I feel like if you're there, you belong there.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't be there if you didn't.
No, you wouldn't. Absolutely. I agree with that. And this is a perfect segue for what is happening with you right now, actually. Yeah. Just one thing that you were talking about. You received a couple of awards in the past couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Right? So can you tell us about the first award that you received in Paris for the Outstanding Pole in France award. And sorry for my Polish, but it's from the Fundacja Polskiego Godła Promocyjnego, teraz Polska. Yeah?
Exactly.
Can you tell us what this award is about and
why
did you get it? Why you?
Thanks, Walid. We could have switched places, but we don't have the same nationality, I think so. I don't know if that was a criteria, but... So basically every year, this foundation organizes an award ceremony and like a prize in Paris for Poles who are super invested in the Polish diaspora and ecosystem in France. So for the past 2 years, I have been in the executive board of the Association of Polish Students in France, helping them on different levels. So what we do is we're based on 3 pillars. We help individuals who wish to study in France, help to get into French universities, but also Grande École through a completely free of charge mentoring program where we match them with mentors. Then we help students really get integrated in France through networking events, like we did with Susanna, for instance, the AI Night event we organized, but also really casual events for people who just want to grab a beer together and discuss. And then we also help students enter the job market for different workshops that we organize. So we had already a workshop with BCG, with Publicis Group, with Play, so a member of the Iliad Group. And now the new board is probably also onto great ideas. So this award was truly a cumulative point of the work that I pull in the Franco-Polish relations throughout the help to the students, but also the institutional bridges that I was able to build, because I think I can proudly say that I initiated the partnership with the Polish Institute in Paris, and then also with Business France, and then also with the CCIFP, so the French Chamber of Commerce here in Poland. We're also partnering with Campus France Pologne and the embassy in Poland. I mean, this wasn't initiated by me, but we're still super grateful to have the support of the embassy.
This is whole like a network that basically, nurtures, those relations and creates a safe haven for, young Poles.
Exactly. And I think also what's interesting is that most of the time, Poles that go abroad to study wish to come to Poland and to come back. And a lot of people often comment that, oh, but you're just leaving. It's like brain drain. And we're like, actually, no, like we're living to go to a different country and then get experience,
Oh.
get a good background, and come back and give back to the community that's
I'm
here.
sure I will see you next to me not very soon, but I'm sure I'm going to see you back. I'm certain of that.
So yeah, that's also part of my plan to come back.
Yeah.
So regarding the award, this was really to recognize the work that I've put in. And I was super grateful to receive it from the foundation and also from the part of the embassy.
Yeah.
Because it
The
truly
ambassador
empowers.
actually handed you over the prize. Yeah, I saw the
Exactly.
pictures. Hey.
Exactly. So it's super meaningful to also see
The ambassador of Poland to France, yeah?
Yes, exactly. It's super important to see institutions and foundations empowering young individuals because it starts bottom up, you know, like the students, even if it's a casual atmosphere, like you get along great with French peers, with international peers, with different people. And then we grow up and it constitutes this next network. Like some people will be the next people in the administration or different sectors. And it's super important to keep recognizing that the work that these young people do and how it will also build up in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know that you are happy that you, and as you said, you're happy that you got it, and for all the work that you have done. But what does it mean for you to get, because is this the first award you get?
Yeah.
And so how did it feel, like that you get, because this is, I don't know if we understand here, is that there are hundreds of thousands, of Poles, if not, more, in France, right? And it's not an award just for young people, because I saw the other laureate next to you. There was not young people, right? So
there are different categories, as we say.
Different categories, obviously, right? So, and it's outstanding Pole in France, right? Country of 70 million people, and you got you there, how does it feel? What does it mean, like really, when you get called and say, this is you that we want to give it to?
It's crazy. And I think it's also something that still is coming to me because this all happened like on the 10th of October when we had the award ceremony. But what makes it even more special is that I was nominated by Joanna Wajda, who is the director of the Polish Institute in Paris.
Yeah.
Which for me shows that my work was really done as the president of ASPOL. Because as I mentioned before, I initiated the partnership and also got in touch with Mrs. Wajda. And what it really showed me is that people from the outside are also seeing my contribution and what I do. And just like, as an entrepreneur, as like everything you do in foundations, NGOs, you do it in your free time. You're just putting all your effort in it. And you want to do the best for the community that you're serving. And when I learned that I was nominated to the award, I was super surprised, shocked a little, but super surprised and super grateful. So I think that there are two things. First of all is the fact that it makes me feel accomplished, knowing that people appreciate my work and that they see the real contribution that I have brought, but also true gratitude for being able to be here and for being able to do the work that I did.
Okay. So you feel that, that's very nice. That's very nicely put, because, it's like you did the work, but it's like, okay, thank you for allowing me also to do this work. That's okay. I like that. Let's talk about the one that you flew for right now, that you were talking about, that happened yesterday, right? Like some kind of, I don't know, Golden Globe ceremony or something.
It was really, this was crazy.
Okay, so let me just try to launch you on this one, and you're going to tell us also a little bit more. So, because I saw that award online, the first one, the Outstanding Pole in France, and I was like, wow, that's so great, and then I get a message from you. I think the day after or something, saying, listen, I will be in Warsaw next week because I have another award. And that award is the Kolibr Award, granted by the Robert Dobzhewski Foundation, right?
Yeah.
And this one is basically the prize for the ones that honor the ones that promote Poland abroad and contribute to improving quality of life in the country. How do we get there?
So I think one of our main taglines, let's say, for today's discussion is the people. Like really the people.
Yeah.
As I mentioned before, for the first prize, I was nominated by Mrs. Joanna Wajda.
And this one?
And I'm getting there. And for this story, for the Hummingbird Award, so Kolibir is hummingbird in English.
Exactly, yes.
So I got a call from Zofia Kierner, so the CEO and founder of the Girls Future Ready Foundation last week.
Okay.
Letting me know that there is this super special Hummingbird Prize and that the foundation has contacted Zofia. And the next thing I learned is that Zofia nominating me for the award, which I was already super happy about.
Amazing.
And we both didn't know if I would be awarded the prize or not. But the question was just like, can you come to Warsaw next week? And I was like, Zofia, I am a little crazy, but I would be too crazy to say no to such an opportunity. And of course, I will manage my agenda and I will be there.
Of course.
And next thing I know, on Friday, I get an amazing email from Hanna and Malvina from the foundation of Robert Dobrzycki saying that I am the laureate of this year Hummingbird Award, which was awarded only to 3 people, which made it even more special. And honestly, if you were to ask me how I feel about this award, for me, it's still so surreal that I think I'm still processing the emotions from last night.
Last night.
It was yesterday. I came home at 2 a.m. So
you're still on that high, yeah?
Exactly. It was so special and also crazy because, as I mentioned before, like within the Polish diaspora in France, it's a closely knit network. So I was already in touch with Mrs. Wajda. I organized events at the embassy. So it was super special to see that my work was recognized, but being recognized in Poland by Robert Dobrzycki is actually crazy. Like Robert Dobrzycki, like this huge Polish entrepreneur who is building Panatoni in Poland and in Europe and in the UK and Saudi Arabia and India. It's just crazy to me. And especially since the award was, first of all, for my contributions to promoting Poland abroad, given the Association of Polish Students in France, but also for the innovative solutions in data protection.
Amazing.
So for Gardatum. So I think I'm still processing what is currently happening, but I am super grateful for the people that are around me and whom are supporting the mission and the values that lead me, because that really empowers me to keep building further and just encourages me. And I know that a mission that is worth pursuing and that I will have the backup needed anytime.
That's basically the fuel, right? Saying
Exactly.
you do something right, yeah?
Exactly.
If you have been here during the French Tech Connect, you might have had another award, but you couldn't make it, obviously.
Maybe next year we'll have best intern.
The best intern, Elias is here. Yeah, because the French Tech Connect we had best intern, and actually Elias took it, So, damn.
We'll talk about it later.
Exactly. I think this is not yours. But yeah.
It's okay.
So
you can fight every battle.
Exactly. You have to let go some of them. Yeah.
Exactly.
No, and Elias deserves it 100 times. So
for sure. I'm not debating on this one.
No, that's for sure. Without him, it wouldn't have happened anyway. So, but yeah. So listen. I think this is just such an impressive, things that you have already shared with us, and we have been speaking to each other nonstop for more than an hour and 20 minutes. So, and I can keep going.
But it's been so quickly.
It went like 10 minutes gone. I think they're tired too. Don't cut to keep this one in, please. So I will finish with, a round of very quick questions, right?
Okay.
Just to maybe you can give some advices, what to read, and also to people to know a little bit more about you. So I would like you to give us here your favorite French dish and your favorite Polish dish.
Okay, so it's a little bit difficult because I'm vegetarian. So for French food, it's like very meat based. But I would say that I love pastries. We could consider that.
Yeah, it's food.
I love. You probably already tried them, but nonette is like one of my favorite pastries. Like when I see them at the show, I'm like, no, don't look at them.
Yeah.
So I would say that this is one of my
We will have it on the
favorite-
screen. It will show. So
Okay.
people will know
And
it is
also,
not net.
obviously, cheese. I love goat cheese and all of the cheeses.
Mhm.
Since I'm vegetarian, like I
I
think
didn't
it's
see you eat much. Yeah?
I think I was so focused on like the discussion and really delivering interesting insights. So, but we'll get into it later.
Yeah,
So no worries, it
absolutely.
won't be wasted.
Oh, super. Okay.
So
That's
I
the
would
French
say
side.
that yeah, cheese and nonette is
Mhm.
a great pleasure of mine. And then for Polish, it's a little bit easier for me because I grew up in Poland and eating my grandma's food.
Mhm.
And one of my favorite, it's my grandma's tomato soup with kluski lane, which is like homemade pasta.
Okay.
And then kluski leniwe, which is like, I don't know if you ever had those, but it's so good. It's basically like white cheese mixed with flour and egg, and then it's
Yes,
mixed, and then
yes.
you like drop them in water, and then you eat it with sugar and with
Yes.
sour cream.
I
It's
got that.
so good.
Yes, I got that. I'm here for over a decade, so I had the chance to, but those ones, yeah, the name was, but I got them. Okay. So those two.
Yeah.
Okay. So now the second one would be about a book, right? Or you can even have two books. So let's say, what would be, because I know you're a big reader, right? And you read a lot. So what would be the book about understanding data and AI and, all this new kind of wave that you would recommend? That would be my first book I would like to know. And the second one would be, what was your favorite book? The one that, you would take with you on an island.
Wow. That's a tough question. But let's start off with a book that I'm currently reading, and I think it's super interesting. Is Buktechy. So it's like God text by Sylwia Czubowska, if I'm not wrong.
We'll
Which
put
is
it on the screen also.
which is super interesting and really shows like what we just discussed before, like how are big techs and tech companies influencing the world around us. So I think that this is a super important read. It's a very thick read, but it's super important. So I'm still reading that one, but I would already recommend it.
You will send me a summary?
Yeah, I think it's like 500 pages at least.
God, this is what I'm saying.
I will try. It will be
no
like
way I'm reading 500 pages. No way.
But if someone has the time, I would really recommend it. And then a shorter version of a book on data is Toxic Data by David Chavalarias, who
Didn't read this one. Okay.
who is the director of the Institut de Système Complexe in Paris. And it's super interesting, and it shows the link between politics and data. So I think that if we want to really understand it, this is the one.
Okay.
There's also like books on Web3 and blockchain, which are super interesting, but I don't have one that I will recommend 100%. But if someone is interested in the topic, I would say dive more into that too.
Okay.
And one of the books that I'm recommending to everyone is
your favorite one.
Yeah, it's my favorite because I recommend. Like, I mean, I recommend it because it's one of my favorites.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't think I have like a one-time favorite, but it's a book that I like a lot. I think it's L'odeur des croissants chauds.
Okay, so
something like this.
The smell of the
yes.
hot croissant.
Yes. We will have to check again the offer because
so we're gonna put it here.
Yes,
if it's wrong, we're gonna have it.
It's a moral philosophy. L'influence de l'odeur des croissants chauds.
Okay.
It's that. So it will be like, how does a smell of freshly baked croissant influence people?
Okay. Yeah.
Which is super interesting. And basically, it's a book on experimental philosophy and moral philosophy. So understanding thought experiments. And even if in itself it's like a book that dives into different examples, it really allows you to step out of your shoes and try to see a bigger picture and like try to understand what are the different scenarios and like case studies you could be into or the different perspectives. And I think it really maybe doesn't give you like a lot of new knowledge, let's say. I mean, it for sure does because it's a philosophy book, so there are a lot of references, but even without being like a philosophy reader, you still gain a new perspective. And it's a short read. So that's something I would recommend for sure.
Okay, great. I take that. Everything will be listed. And I would say my last question here is that what would be a great evening for you in Paris? And what would be a great evening for you in Warsaw?
Okay. Once again, I think people get annoyed by this, but the people. So for me, a great evening in Paris and in Warsaw is spent with my people, my close friends, my family, even the people that I work with, because I also
like them.
exactly Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think an ideal evening here in Warsaw would be to go out and like benefit of the Warsaw city center and go sightseeing a little with my close friends and my family that I get to see only when I'm here because all of my family is only in Poland.
Mhm.
So I feel like this would be a special and a perfect evening for me because even like throughout all of the work I'm doing, sometimes I am even like angry at myself that I'm not spending enough time with my family
Yeah.
and my friends. So that's super important to me. And in Paris, one of the favorite things we do with my friends is to go, for instance, to Montmartre and to sit on the stairs and just to look at the beautiful sky and spend time together.
Yeah.
And I really think that independently of the place where you're at, if you spend it with your people, the people who cherish you in like your worst situation, but also the best, I would make like your life better and
Absolutely.
special. So wherever the place, it would be with my close friends and with my family. And
Yeah.
then the site would change, I guess.
Awesome. And then to close things out, I would like to, leave the last statement for you. Do you have anything you would like to, I don't know, advise, a statement you want to make, something you would like to share for all the other youngsters and, up and coming professionals that would like
Hmm.
to replicate what you do, or, would like to have a cross country life, anything that you would like to, some piece of wisdom that you would like to share?
It's like, is this meme when someone tells you, I want to follow your footsteps? And it's like, I think it's the scene from Hunger Games of like a girl being traumatized, being like, no, please don't. I don't know if I would recommend it. It's a lot of different things. But if there's one thing that I can say, like, again, being only my age and not having a super like wisdom, but having lived what I have,
Yeah.
is to stay humble and stay grateful for all the opportunities that you have and for the people who want to support you, because honestly, like, no one owes you anything,
Yeah.
so people choose to be there with you and to help you and to support you. So I think that's super important to remember that and to be humble and grateful for the
Yeah.
people around you, as I am for you, Walid, and for the
Appreciate
whole
it.
French Tech community.
Yeah.
And then I believe it's super important to find your mission and what you want to do in
Yeah.
life, because it's really easy to get lost in the chaos of things that are currently happening. And it's okay to not be sure of what you want to do. It's super normal. Like, I think 3/4 of people I know don't know what they want to do,
At
especially
my
at
age as well.
so I think that's okay. But what's not okay is to settle and
Yeah.
to live like a miserable life. And by miserable, I mean a life where you're not happy what you're doing
Yeah.
and being aware of the fact that you're not happy about it.
Yeah.
So I think that there's no justification, let's say, if you have like all the basic needs met, of not trying to strive for more and for really finding what you want to do. So by that, you could like do many things, like try different experiences,
Mhm.
maybe switch your job, maybe join an NGO, a nonprofit, and like just try something new and keep on trying until you find your spark
Mhm.
and really get into it. And then stay humble, stay focused and determined, and work hard. And I believe in everyone who will do that and who has ethical and pure values. Not to encourage here like people with different point of view, but and you'll succeed.
Yeah.
You'll find your way, and I hope you'll lead a happy life.
I think we cannot do better than this. And just before we close things out, there is one name that we didn't mention that is, I think, close to us both, and that also was, talking about the support system, the Paul support system, the network. Kasha,
Lechka.
I always kill her name.
Kasia Lechka, yes.
Seya, right? Because she has a double name. She's a link between us also. I knew that you would be a
Exactly.
match. You work together now in Pathway. She's exceptional. Hopefully she will see that. Sorry, Kasha, that we dropped your name at the end, but
Yes.
we love you.
Exactly, we do. And if I were to quote every inspiring woman in my life, I think the list would be long. But Kasia, you would be there 100%.
Absolutely. And thank you again for spending the time. Thank you again for texting me that you are flying in and that we should do this. And I'm so grateful to see where you're going, what you have done already. I'm impressed, and I'm so excited to see what's next. So keep amazing us and keep just bearing the Polish flag, high like this, right? So
Thank you so
again.
much, Walid. Thank you for the invitation for our discussion. And I know that there's also a road ahead of us. It's not the end.
Absolutely.
So looking forward to it.
Absolutely. Thank you again.
Thank you.
You can follow us, our LinkedIn, our website, come to our events. We are an offline community despite the online content. And yeah, see you next time. Thank you all.